Jeff, thank you for that overly generous introduction. President Ayoun, trustees, honored guests, graduates, friends, family, thank you for having me. Let me offer a special welcome to the graduates, moms, and mom graduates. I can't think of a better way to celebrate than right here, right now, at this iconic Fenway Park. Today I want to talk about memory, why this amazing feature of our human brain is so important in an age when AI capabilities threaten to overshadow us as intelligent beings. Now, you graduates might reasonably say, we are young, our whole lives are in front of us. Who cares about old memories? Aren't we supposed to be thinking about the future, not what's happened in the past? Well, I'm here to tell you that your past is your future, and your memory is why you won't end up working for a machine. In particular, I want to talk about why memory matters, what you will remember, and maybe most importantly, how you will be remembered. Or said another way, what is it that will make you memorable? Let's start with, how does memory work? Turns out, and remarkably so, no one really knows the true biological mechanism, but it starts with something like 86 billion neurons in your brain, each making up to 10,000 synaptic connections to create overlapping, highly distributed, redundant neural networks, where memories are stored, interpreted, and retrieved. Now, for the approximately 10% of you in the audience who, like me, are left-handed, I have some good news and bad news. The good news is that on average, you have better memories than your pedestrian right-handed friends. The bad news, and it is concerning, is we don't live as long. Turns out we suffer from a higher rate of industrial accidents and get into more car crashes. So you lefties need to be careful at busy intersections and stay away from machine tools. Lefty or righty, we have all three types of memory. Our immediate memory handles sensory input from the world around us. What we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, particularly what we feel. It's a huge stream of inputs bombarding us constantly. So much information that very little of it seeps into our short-term consciousness. Our short-term or working memory is our biological notepad. Think of it as a scratch pad for what's most relevant, dangerous, or important. It might be who we are talking to. It could be what that person is saying, where we are going, what's the next thing we have to do, who we might need to text about dinner this evening. For most people, this short-term memory window operates as a 15 to 30-second window of focused consciousness. It's truly, almost unbelievably short, which of course is why we are so often distracted. Finally, long-term memory is what gets encoded. This is where the brain sifts and sorts the experiences of short-term memory and moves the most important filtered information to more permanent storage, including happy and sad moments, profound and traumatic experiences, treasured stories, and learned skills, the kind of thing that happens at a university. How to tie your shoes, read a book, play the saxophone. And that memory capability is way better than you think. We all have remarkable recollection, and that skill can be trained and improved with practice. Turns out it helps to go to a fancy university, Northeastern, but it's not required. For example, 19th century, high school students used to routinely memorize great swaths of material. It was called narration, whole subject area. Students would graduate knowing hundreds of poems, speeches, literary passages by rote. Now, domestically, that's largely fallen out of fashion. It's interesting, there is sort of a revival going along in a lot of homeschooling curricula. But in England, today, London cabbies are still all required to learn the knowledge. This is the name given to an encyclopedic understanding of central London roads and attractions that encompasses 25,000 streets, hundreds of landmarks. Typically takes 2 to 3 years to memorize, but every year, 500 to 1,000 applicants a year successfully pass the test to become black cab drivers. Today in the Muslim world, it's not unusual for dedicated religious students of the Quran to memorize the entire book, all 600 pages of the sacred text, almost 78,000 words. That's all to say, your memory is really good. Maybe some of you are musicians. Concert pianists routinely commit dozens of works to memory. Literally millions of notes. For example, one of the most common piano pieces is Rachmaninoff's Concerto No. 3, often learned for auditions. It is almost 40 minutes long and contains 29,000 notes. Now, memory is important because it defines who you are and your own sense of self. It's the building block and core infrastructure of intelligence, the meat, potato, and vegetables of your cognitive stew. Your identity, your personality, and your creative capabilities all flow from this unique capacity. Tragically, we all know someone afflicted by dementia, a condition where somebody cannot remember where they are, who they are, what their connection might be to the world around them. We often say that those afflicted are no longer themselves because the tether of memory has frayed and snapped. In these cases, we see the importance of memory by its absence. Memory is also the glue of our culture, the sheer mortar of civilization. It's what holds us all together. Memory is how we share values, establish common goals, and rally collectively to defend ourselves from existential threats. It's what we believe in, what we stand behind, and are willing to fight for. No machine can tell us that. Now, if memory is so important, what is it that you will remember? You may think everything, or maybe what matters most, or has occurred most recently. But the research tells a very different story. Most memory is like a controlled hallucination, a framed approximation of the truth, what you think happened, but tinted with various shades of meaning, studded with highlights, missing some pieces, imagining others, and often not in the right order. Memory is imperfect and organic, like your brain and other biological systems. For example, research has shown our first love is the most powerful recollection. It's a beautiful thought, although complicated. The music you have been listening to over the past 5 years is going to stay with you. Your dorm room favorites will become the soundtrack of your lives. If precedent holds, you'll be listening to Bad Bunny, Bruno Mars, and Billie Eilish forever. So get ready for a 2020 oldies channel. The circle of friends you are making now will likely sustain you over a lifetime. My own college friends are still my closest buddies. And you'll never forget your time in Boston. Favorite professors, the crazy co-op where you found a career direction, the wild parties where you met your best friends and maybe found that first love. This is all part of what neuroscientists call the reminiscence bump. That's a tendency to remember better things learned or experienced as young adults, specifically between the ages of 15 and 25. It is estimated, when tested, that 60% of adult recollections are from this formative decade. But the time elapsed will likely only constitute about 15% of your eventual lived existence. How cool is that? Proof positive that the college years are truly the wonder years. But warm nostalgia and college memories alone can't sustain you. They won't buy groceries, cover your rent, or pay off your school loans. So you're going to need a job. And in that role, you will undoubtedly be making more directed memories by request and on command. And now the question becomes, are you better at a computer than making, storing, retrieving, and manipulating those memories in some useful way? The good news is that memory isn't like a closet where you jam all of your favorite recollections and visits when you need something. Your memory is a hugely capable, dynamic thing and foundation for your future. But maybe it doesn't feel that way in a world where phone numbers, addresses, friends' birthdays, your mom's shoe size, grocery lists are all stored on your phone. Most of us don't know our driver's license, passport, or social security numbers. Maybe we are hurtling toward a world where everything you might have memorized is captured in a large language model, which will do the remembering and reminding for us. The atomic heart of how AI works centers around the prediction of what might come next. The next word, the next pixel in an image, the next note of music. To illustrate the concept, and just to make sure we all know what we're up against here, I thought it might be fun for us to build a large language model together briefly this morning. This will be, I'm sure, the first large language model constructed at Fenway Park. We're going to start by completing a phrase together. So I need your rapt attention. I'll start the phrase, and you finish by shouting out the answer. Are you ready? Peanut butter and jelly. That's right, jelly, obviously. We knew that from memory because those were familiar words and a well-known relationship. Whatever you're majoring in, it turns out that you're all budding computer scientists. Because what we were just doing there was tokenizing and predicting. You got the first 4 tokens and a few predictive relationships nailed. Now, to finish, we just need a few trillion more tokens and associations to finish the job of building this large language model. We won't quite have time to do that, but it's important to understand the core concept of this cognitive revolution happening all around us, because it's our entire collective memory that is being aggregated, assembled, statistically associated, and pre-formatted for on-demand sharing. In an important way, it's just like the Industrial Revolution, where machines automated great swaths of manual labor, and in doing so enabled mass production of textiles, furniture, steel, cars, other household goods. It took several generations to harness and adapt those capabilities, but our predecessors all eventually realized they would never be able to outrun a train, outplow a tractor, or lift more than a crane. And following the cognitive revolution, you won't out-memorize an AA model. You will not beat a computer at chess or sequence a human genome. But you will be able to outperform the machine in creativity, innovation, and teamwork. Because the computer doesn't really do net new. It also doesn't empathize with authentic human emotion or come equipped with future vision. It's not curious, and it doesn't care about how you feel. Consequently, this makes novelty, creativity, and caring more valuable. Your giant career opportunity is to discover, to create, to connect, and to build. That's what you can do for you. Let me touch on the most important question. How will you be remembered? Or more poignantly, what will make you memorable? I'm pretty sure it won't be your TikTok account. It won't be your Instagram photos or your Facebook posts. I'm a technology guy and I love computers, but I can assure you that your legacy should not be a managed digital reflection of your life. A decade from now, and certainly a century from now, no one will care what you had for lunch Tuesday at the Korean restaurant. No one will care how you decorated your new apartment in the seaport. And no one will care what you wore on your vacation to the Bahamas. Wouldn't it be a shame to have your entire existence stored as a confetti of bits and bytes, zeros and ones, in a faceless digital crypt inside a nameless data center somewhere? Let me go further, though, and say, clearly, you won't be remembered for who you are or what you have, but for what you do and how you do it. So make your life worth remembering by doing things that are worthwhile. I offer a specific challenge. What have you done recently for someone else? Have you trained, taught, mentored, supported, or encouraged anyone? Have you shared a dream, built a team, created an institution? Have you cared for someone in need? To be memorable, you'll need to pay attention to the people around you. The gift of time is the ultimate act of generosity, because we all crave recognition and the everyday triumph that is human connection. Showing up matters because it's the personal touch that makes people feel most connected. But there's a problem. We only have so much attention to give because we only have so much time. It's finite, and unlike money, you can't make more if you run out. So I hope you feel an obligation to spend your time as well as you spend your money. As the adage goes, today really is tomorrow's yesterday. Clock is ticking. Count every day. Don't squander your great gift. Share yourself when you can, starting now. That's what you can do for others. Pericles was the first citizen of Athens and said, "What humans leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others." On this wonderful commencement day, my sole piece of advice for you graduates is to start weaving yourselves into the fabric of your communities, your neighborhoods, your workplaces, and your extended families. Help, care, support, heal, and build great institutions. That's what you can do to be the right kind of memorable. Thank you for having me. Good luck. Congratulations. Go Huskies.